Hello, we're live. My name is Jerry Cabazzuto from Soundpath.org. I also run the Liberation Academy.education as well as GodIsLoveTruthFreedom.com. And I am very excited to welcome our very special headliner, one of our 8 headliners for Soundpath.org, accomplished country singer and a singer-songwriter, Tatiana Moroz. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Some people online, I guess, but some lucky people in person Labor Day weekend.
Yes, we're so excited to hear you perform. Honored, really, to have you. And I was just talking about how much of a fan I am of your music and um, how much I value your contributions, especially as a female singer-songwriter. And, I'm sort of new to the truth and freedom movement. This is my, first major contribution to the movement with this festival. And you've been doing a lot of activism for several years.
Yeah. So back in, I was always really interested in, saving the world, especially through music. Like I was very influenced by the 60s and 70s singer-songwriters. Although now when I think about like how the CIA was kind of manipulating that, I'm like, was I tricked too? um, but like especially the anti-war thing has always really spoken to me. In 2008, I wasn't actually a Ron Paul fan as much as I was a fan of Dennis Kucinich. Just like every well-indoctrinated American going straight into the left, right? Especially on the music side, they kind of like to get you over into that. However, I mean, Dennis Kucinich is a rock star, right? And I remember hearing about Ron Paul, but being like, all right, some of this stuff is cool, but like, how could you get rid of the EPA? Don't you care about, the polar bears and all of these things that kind of confused me. I couldn't understand why he wouldn't want universal health care. I'm like, you're a doctor. What are you doing? Do you just want us all to die? So it was a really cool transition from Dennis Kucinich in 2008. And then in 2011, learning about the Federal Reserve, giving me some insights, learning Austrian economics. That's how I really got into libertarianism and then later really anarchy, because it's sort of like the logical conclusion. So I got very interested in Dr. Paul. I was singing for Ron Paul all around the country in 2012. And around that same time, like in August of 2012, when they had the big walkout, that basically, for people that don't know, when Ron Paul had basically enough votes to really be a contender against Mitt Romney, even though his own party had been squishing him essentially. And so you had over 400 delegates out of the 1,200 walk out. And there was no press coverage of it whatsoever. So when that happened, I felt like that was my belief in America really died. I really was very disheartened. I thought, why would anyone participate in this rigged game, essentially? And so that's why I luckily was able to find my way into Bitcoin. So I had the BitPay guys. I had met them and I'd done some gigs and stuff. So they supported my performance down in Tampa that same weekend when I was like, forget this, I'm not doing politics anymore. And so basically, yeah, they supported me and they taught me about Bitcoin. And I was lucky enough to just be one of the very first musical artists in the Bitcoin space. And it's been, straddling both worlds, like trying to deal with, all right, well, we do have some kind of political stuff that we do need to deal with, but mostly really trying to build solutions outside of the political system, which is why I think what you guys are doing is so cool.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I think we all kind of inspire each other. Yeah, like even though I'm sort of new to the truth and freedom movement, I'm definitely already seeing a sort of, yeah, just disappointment with humanity. I don't understand why there hasn't been more activation. And I'm hoping, this music festival, featuring musicians like you that are passionate and speaking truth and freedom lyrics, singing truth and freedom lyrics, rapping them, what have you, whatever method, whether it's presentations or music or whatever, that people start activating.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I've been waiting for people to activate for a long time. It's really hard to maintain like a positive attitude about it, but like, what else are we going to do? Just crawl into a hole and die? I mean, you got to keep going, right? But after over a decade, God, what has it been? Like 13 years, I guess, of really active stuff. Yeah, I'm a little bit annoyed. That's like the understatement of the year. But hey, you know what? All these idiots that were like, you just got to vote for Daddy Trump and he's going to save all your problems. Wow, are they getting a wake up call? But
Yeah.
the problem is they're like, well, just wait until 2028. I'm like, I can't even take it anymore.
Seriously.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people are waking up, and, I think that the Maha movement isn't really all it's been cracked up to be. So I think a lot of those people are pissed.
Right.
I just want to hear people talking about things that aren't voting more, because I don't
Yes.
think that's going to, no, I don't think. I know that's not even close to getting us out of the problems that we're in. So, that's where we're at. We're kind of like at this, turning point in humanity where, okay, there's like going to be something bad or something crazy that happens and something that really changes. But we all have to kind of reflect inward. We were talking before the show started about, the songs that we were playing, and I have like obviously like a lot of Liberty songs or whatever, and one of them is called "What You Gonna Do," and it's one of my favorites because the line is, "What you gonna do when they come for you? Are you gonna lay down and die? Tell me, officer, tell me, what did I do? Was it because I was speaking my mind? What is the limit, and are we still in it? Can we go and change the tide? What you gonna do when they come for you? Because I thought we were free inside." And not to be like cheesy and read my lyrics, but like I feel like that's like really, really poignantly exactly that point that we're at. I grew up learning about World War II because my mom is from Poland, and she's a
Oh,
big
wow.
like history buff and whatever. She don't like the government very much. And nobody does, right? Once they've gone through communism, they become very, very skeptical. So, I was always being warned about, what happened and how they rounded up the intelligentsia and the dissidents and the top people in society right before they started culling them. And I'm reminded of that constantly. And, you are asked, one of the things that I'm really proud about regarding being Polish is that when Germany invaded, they fought, and most other countries were just like, don't hurt us, don't hurt us, and they ran away and they like caved in. But the Polish people, they fought and they paid for it. They were probably the most destroyed country in all of Europe during that time because they fought back, because they were the first ones on the front lines. But their bravery and their love of freedom is just something that I will take inspiration from forever, right? Unfortunately, now the Polish people are a little bit brainwashed, so that's really annoying. But what are you going to do? That's why I like living in Florida, because you get the Cubans, and the Cubans know, they're like, oh, I hate communism. I'm like, you're my people, and I feel like
Absolutely.
if shit goes down, they can actually handle it. Whereas like other people are just not going to know what to do. But the Cubans are gonna be like, oh, I've done this already. We're good. Follow.
I love what you're sharing about your background, because I think a lot of us who are awakened have a sort of like intergenerational history that we're tapping into. I would say for me as a Korean American, seeing the sort of like false dialectic of the South with, supposed democracy and then, communism in the North, you see past those two sides, it's all fascism, that whole peninsula. And
Yes.
like you said, voting, right or left when corporations and the deep state are paying both sides, you're not really, there's no choice there.
Yeah. And I think like now is a particularly difficult problem because take Tucker Carlson, for example. I actually like Tucker's reporting. I think he does some really great work. And, I think like he took Ted Cruz to task. But at the end of the day, there's some element of he has to be limited hangout. Look, well, he doesn't know his dad's in CIA. Really? You didn't know that your dad was in the CIA? I mean, give me an effing break. You don't get to be the top guy at Fox if you are an outsider. It just doesn't happen. Sorry. So, it's weird because I also know different activists and journalists, citizen journalists that have met him and that really like him. And we're just in this weird place right now where, I mean, they're like, on his team, but every single person is kind of suspect, and it's very, very difficult to kind of know even what to believe in or even care really. And I think obviously that's part of the objective, but that has been a real source of frustration, is knowing which news is real, which is just kind of some kind of controlled opposition. And I have a friend, Kevin McKernan. You may have heard of him. He's doing incredible work with the COVID vaccine, he found out that they had been putting foreign DNA in there. He actually has a cannabis DNA kind of sequencing thing that he does. A thing called Canamed, which is a yearly conference for medical cannabis use before it was cool. And one of the things that he said was he thinks that a lot of that is BS, like that a lot of the people aren't even controlled opposition. It's just meant to be like, who's the Fed? You're the Fed. You're the Fed. No, you're the Fed. And to just sow division. And I think that that's really been very apparent. But then you also have the sociopaths in the community, right? Like, just like how government attracts power, people who like power are sometimes sociopathic, psychopathic. That's like a lot more of that. And I think that you see that a lot in the freedom movement. And so, it's very difficult to not be bitter and not to be angry when you see people exalted for years and years, and you know that they're scumbags and you know that they're doing bad things. And everybody's like, oh, well, he didn't do anything to me. Me. I don't have the capacity to just tolerate that. So, it's very, very difficult to want to keep going. When I first joined libertarian stuff, I was all like, why are you leaving, to my female friends in the space? And they're like, oh, you'll see. I'm like, but liberty is so important. And then, there were incidents where I would like get groped or like kicked off a gig because I was telling people like that girls were getting like attacked and stuff. And they were just like, oh, like they would kick me off the tour. You see these kinds of things happening. And then you realize this is why people left, because within our own community, no one is held accountable. And that really is very upsetting, because you say you want to, I'm going to fight the government. I'm going to be, an anarchist, really? Well, what are you going to do when somebody in your own community is getting abused, but like, oh no, because that person's cool and they've got a lot of likes on Instagram, and like, oh, I want them to speak at my event, and oh, they speak so well.
Wow.
These are not the people that I want to kind of collaborate with, which in a way has kind of forced me to take a step back. The same thing, well, not the same thing, but a similar thing happened on the Bitcoin side that has also been kind of annoying, is like, I invented NFTs, or one of the people, right? So I made the first cryptocurrency in the world, right? I was so excited. This is the way that artists are going to get out from under the boot of the record labels. They're going to be able to build their own ecosystems. And then it became, like a slut fest, excuse me, but like it was, right? It's just like kind of like these like kind of like slutty little girls that want to get attention from the rich Bitcoiners, which I get it, girls like money, but that's not why I joined, right? And then all of a sudden you have these NFTs that are just kind of lame and there's no meaning behind them. I'm actually doing a really big project. I guess maybe I'll share it with you guys, actually. I mean, maybe a little bit of announcement here and there. So I'll back it up a little bit. So back in 2013, when I joined Bitcoin, in 2014, I created Tatiana Coin, which is the first artist cryptocurrency, right? And so I used that to fund my album, Keep the Faith. So I have 4 full albums, and this was the third one. So Keep the Faith was, very reflective of what I had learned in the liberty movement. Before that was Love and Liberty. And this was like, keep the faith. I had to keep the faith because I wanted to kill everybody. I was like, these people are scumbags. So then, I wrote the Bitcoin jingle, and I wrote the Silk Road song, and overall I had kind of gone into that. And so now people are putting music on the blockchain. So hopefully today, I guess we're going to be minting. And so we're doing all of that album, Keep the Faith, in 4 megabyte files. So like it'll be, each block will be a full high res, well, as high res as you can get with 4 megabytes file with music and stuff. And it'll be there for eternity in the Bitcoin blockchain. And one of the most important things about that for me is the opening line of my Bitcoin jingle, which everybody needs to remember. I didn't want to give any of my money to a nation based on war. And that's really what I think it all boils down to. Like when I saw Coinbase sucking up to the government and sponsoring that US Army thing, I wanted to blow my brains out. Like I was so, so sad. And so these are kind of the things that I think that we have within our community, these like existential struggles, because, you take David Bailey, right? David Bailey is a big freedom guy. We used to be really close. The founder of Bitcoin Magazine, owns Bitcoin Magazine and the Bitcoin conferences and stuff like that. He has like a little bit of a different philosophy. He thinks Bitcoin adoption at any cost will improve freedom all around the world, which there's something to be said for that, right? Because the more people know about it, the more their chances are of learning about it. But if it's completely suppressed, it's very difficult. But now they've gone on to this tip where they're like Bitcoin strategic reserve, and they want the government to have Bitcoin money. And first of all, they stole that money. It's civil asset forfeiture. Okay. Second of all, any taxation that they're taking up from us is theft. Third of all, anytime that they have any money, they use it to blow somebody up. Why in God's good green earth would you possibly support these scumbags? And so I get really pissed. Now, there's another side to that, right? Because you could say, well, the US is more free than China. The US is more free than other kinds of, so I just saw something. This is a nano leaf thing. It's like a thing you can arrange it in different shapes, and it like does colors and it moves to the music and stuff. It's really cool.
It's pretty cool. We're keeping it static because of the lighting, but maybe later we can check it out. It's a very
Yeah,
cool
I mean
art
it
piece.
goes bananas. So wait, where was I with that?
Uh,
The Bitcoin strategic reserve. So, you can make the case that the US is more free than other places, right? However, is that really totally true? So, you can't just remove government and then just leave a vacuum, because then you just get warlords to fill in. Now, you also have only 3 warlords versus 3 million, which are like in the army, right? So I guess you can say that I would rather deal with like one really bad murderer or like 10 really bad murderers than an infrastructure that kind of builds that, right? And the US has committed terrorism all around the world, right? I mean, we've been economically terrorizing people. People are all mad that people are coming in from Gaza. It's like, oh, what do you think they're leaving from? It's because we're propping up that horrible genocide that's happening there, right? So I just, I don't really want to help the US government survive. But if the US government has these supposed guarantees, if we could get back to that, which I think is not very likely, I do think that would be better than just literally nothing. Because one of the first things that somebody said to me when I joined Liberty was that, you get rid of this politician, just another one's going to fill in, right? And you don't even know how much worse that one's going to be. So like, there's this idealistic side, there's the practical side of implementing it into our everyday lives, and then there's the infrastructure that we can't really escape and we have to kind of find a balance with. So I don't know, as an activist, as somebody who is, true blue, it is really difficult because, at the end of the day, you do not get rewarded. You do not get appreciated. I am shadow banned to hell, like everywhere. And I don't even bother posting anymore because I'm like, who cares? I have 3 people like my post. Am I the most uninteresting person? I go to conferences. People seem to find me interesting there. Is it that online I'm just like a total loser? Like, I don't know. I got to 13,000 followers really quickly, and then it just literally stayed at that number for 10 years. I mean,
wow.
and I was posting a lot less back then. So, when people are all excited about, Big Daddy Elon, I'm like, look, his father was, he wanted to have like a technocracy. He's like a weird grandfather, I think, up in Canada. He was a total weirdo. Like, these people are not our friends. This guy wants to put a brain chip in. Like, can we just not get excited that we have a self-driving car, which incidentally could drive you off the path if you're doing something against the government? So right now, I think we've got a lot of distractions, and I think that there's a sorrow in the soul of the people that are doing the big fight because we feel really lonely and we feel like there's no purpose to it. So these in-person events are something I've been focusing on. So we'll have to collaborate on that here in Florida. But I just think it's really critical that we meet in person and we get that, that soul juice that you need to keep going on, because otherwise it's just pretty miserable and it's really hard to want to go forward.
Wow. First of all, I fucking love your passion that you bring to the table. I think you carry a sacred anger. Um, Women especially are socialized not to be angry, men too, but I would say women especially. And your music, your lyrics, the way you interview, you clearly have a justified anger against the evils of the military industrial complex, the government, the fiat systems. And so yeah, I'm totally in agreement with everything that you're saying about how we need to do more in-person events. Totally. That's why we're doing this, because I think what's happening, that I'm seeing so far in the truth and freedom movement is that people are kind of staying behind their screens. And what was the whole pandemic about? It was firstly about depopulation, but also about social distancing. They
Yeah.
want us to not be apart. They want us to be apart. That means we have to come together in person all the more if that's their agenda, right? So, and yeah, just like on a human level, like networking and connecting, collaborating, making music together, maybe inspiring, tours, other festivals, like the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
So it just we have to start somewhere, and we have to start. There's no community if we're not meeting in person at
Yeah.
some point.
Well, I saw an interesting, TikTok or whatever, basically saying that one of these kind of like BlackRock type companies is acquiring a number of different music festivals, and I'm like, oh, I wonder why, right? Like, because first of all, they need their satanic rituals, I mean, that's like top priority for them,
Yeah.
and they want to keep everybody drugged out, they want to keep everybody zoomed into the like this nonsense, they want to keep the soul depressed, and it's just really obvious that that's what's been going on with the music industry for a really long time. Like to me, I just had my wedding, which was really nice.
Congrats.
Thank you, thank you. I found my true love. But one of the things that he and I were talking about was wait, what was I going to say? Oh, so for the wedding, I was like, I told the band, first of all, I was like, not going to get a DJ. I'm like, no, I don't want a DJ. Take your DJs. I'm not doing it. I want a full band. And so I told the band, I'm like, if you give me anything after the year 2000, I'm going to flip. I'm like, I don't want John Legend. I don't want Adele. I don't want like a Mimi, Cheech, whatever the hell. Anybody after Britney Spears is dead to me. With the exception of Coldplay, fine, I'll let them slide because the first album was pretty good and like whatever. The first two albums were really good. After that was just like all trash. But otherwise, I mean, listen, you've got like Sarah Bareilles, you've got like 3 artists that have come out. Macklemore's good. Since Britney Spears hit the scene, like I think that just was the most vulgar, disgusting creation of all time, and then everything has just been downhill ever since. So and I think that that's done on purpose, right? So I do wonder about what's going on, and why certain things are able to kind of catch fire and why other things aren't. It's just an interesting space, because you'll take somebody like Jordan Page or me, right? And Jordan Page and I, we've been doing music together for really, really long time, and yet you have these newer artists that are like freedom-ish, but like they're able to cut through and then we're not. And I'm kind of wondering, why is that? And I think that a lot of times something that I have noticed is that, not in all cases, but sometimes they have more of like a vicious message that's like a little bit less, I guess, like God-based, right? It's like a little bit more
Mm.
angry. But I don't know. I mean, basically, we're here speculating constantly. And then you have your own ego that's at play. Like, am I just not that interesting? Am I just not that good? Or is it that what I'm doing is just too hot for TV? Like how do you
Definitely the latter, man. Like,
yeah, well, but like this is the thing. Like at the end of the day, we're human beings with like feelings and hearts and other things that are kind of distracting us. So it's sad that we lose some of the real ones because of some of the bad apples. And I hope that people feel brave enough to kind of call them out. That's another song I did, Call You Out. That was another one. Just
yeah.
and that's what I've been doing. Like the only way that I can really survive this stuff is by reflecting and putting that into my music. Oh, I love that Mary Cutter. Yes, I love her. I just saw her for the first time on Instagram or whatever it was, and I thought she was lovely. I really liked her. And I thought her voice was good, and I really liked her message. And I was like, oh, this is my new friend. So hopefully maybe one day I'll get to do a show with her or something, because she seemed really cool. I literally just discovered her a couple days ago with the Prescription song. If people haven't heard it, go check her out. Mary Cutter. So
Yeah.
cool.
Maybe we can have you both next year together for Soundpath when we're bigger and better.
I like that. I like that. I'm happy to collab in all ways. So that'll be really good. And also it'll be just really good to be in Pennsylvania, because there's just so many cool people in Pennsylvania. One of my favorite, I call this the best day ever. Well, no, there were two days that were the best day ever, I guess. But one of the best days ever was being in Philly. It was pouring rain, and I played for over 4,000 people in front of the Liberty Bell. And it
Wow.
was so cool because, it's the biggest crowd I had ever played for. And I went up there and I thought I was going to be nervous. And I looked out and I was like, this is awesome. And I wasn't scared at all. Because, when you saw these people just standing there bravely in the rain, I mean, I could like cry just thinking about it. It was so moving, and they were just so brave and so hopeful. You know what I mean? When I think of what people went through with Donald Trump, I want to vomit. All those people, they thought that they were a part of something. And there were a lot of really good elements in terms of the intentions of some of the community, and all the promises were really good. The only decent thing that loser did was he freed Ross. But ever since then, it's just been, trust the plan, trust the plan. And then, I just don't understand the justifications for so many things. And I just feel like, I don't know, maybe he's the Antichrist. Either way, I don't really trust that he wasn't planted in some fashion. I mean, who even knows the whole thing? And that's why it's just annoying because, it's like you're screaming out into the void. No one hears what you're saying. And that's why like something like what I'm going to do with my ordinal project, I think is quite cool, because if anybody ever looks back over the Bitcoin blockchain, they're going to be like, wow, this chick put all these songs on and what are they about? And they're going to be getting like a real freedom message. And I think that we really need to get back to that. And, there's the question, like, am I spamming the blockchain? Well, guess what? I don't care anymore. I literally don't care about spamming the blockchain because we're using Bitcoin to fund wars now and everybody's cheering for that. So if I'm like, why is everybody giving me guff about it? Not that anybody has, but it was a consideration, right? It was like, oh, well, you're bloating the blocks with like something else. And I'm like, yeah, but they don't have to accept the transaction. It's a willing transaction. I am paying, they're accepting. This is voluntary,
Right.
And nobody owns Bitcoin. And look, if you can use Bitcoin to promote like wars and government and all of their little, nonsenses that they're going through, why can't I put some music on there? And I think that that's really the key, is that our music, even now, is very censored. Keeping in contact with people is very difficult, and also a lot of the audiences online are fake. They're literally AI bots. I talked to this guy a few times. I think he like wanted a date or something. And I was like, no, like, can you just like give me like an invoice? Anyway, so he never gave me an invoice, but I want to know what he's charging, because basically he will create like bot farms that will really organically make you seem like you're big. And he was like, do you think that these people are really that famous? He's like, absolutely not. He's like,
Wow.
it's all manipulated. And so that's kind of what I saw in my experience. It's been very disturbing. And even like when I would do Luke Radowski's show, I would go over there and we would do like a version of Weird Change. It was called like the Best Political Show or whatever. I didn't even want to do it because I would just show up there and they would just all rail on me and tell me that I was blackpilled because I wasn't believing in Donald Trump. And I
Wow.
would get into fights. Like I would leave and I would like almost cry on the air because it was getting all heated. And I was just getting beaten by all of these idiots that are like, ugh. I want to know where my apology is. I would like to know why our big freedom leader, Luke Radowski, oh, he's so great. Like, why isn't he acknowledging the fact that he got duped? Why was he promoting that nonsense? I get it. We were all hopeful, but like when they were telling me they were going to get rid of the IRS, I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Like, did someone drop you on your head? I mean, come on.
They're never getting rid of that.
But this is why I'm so angry about it, because people are just being idiots. And we have really important things to think about right now. And unfortunately, there's a lot of distractions happening. And, look at the Epstein files, right? They didn't release them, which arguably you can go to Rye Dawson's page, and Rye Dawson has like a really good analysis of like who is there. No prosecutions, nothing. I have seen those losers, Pam Bondi and whatever the Indian guy, his name is, Kash Patel. They're all like being like, oh, look, this guy got hit by a sandwich. He got hit by a Subway sandwich. We took him to jail. We got rid of his job. I'm like, you guys are the biggest scumbag losers. And nobody could possibly be reading this and thinking, yeah, they got him. We can't have them disrespecting our federal officers. Why can't they disrespect our federal officers? They're not following the Constitution. Why would you respect them? Who are they prosecuting that actually deserves prosecution? Zero people. So, now we've just got like this situation in Ukraine that's been going on for years and years and years, which we were funding. Now they're trying to wind it back, meh, whatever. They're probably trying to do some weirdo creepo deal, knowing these scumbags. And then you've got what's going on in Israel, and the whole Middle East is just getting blown up. And now you've got some, I guess there was some murder in Brooklyn last night. I guess some people happened in some Jewish area. Oh, well, looks like we got to invade Iran because, anti-Semitism. It's so infuriating. And then even on that subject, it's so taboo. Like you can't say anything against our Lord and Savior Israel. They just found that AI leader, like the leader of the IDF AI, right? He was in Vegas. You've probably heard this story. He tried to pick up kid to rape the kid, prostitute the kid, whatever. And then instead of actually prosecuting him, they sent him home. They sent him back to Israel. Why? Who's letting this scumbag who's in bed with Palantir leave? What is the justification for that? There's actually zero justification for that. So here we are getting outraged about these little case things, but meanwhile, they're just putting that net and they're tightening the noose and they're putting in their little Palantir control system. And I'm not into it. And I don't know how anybody possibly could, but what I'm seeing and this is why I think like I found my way closer to God, is because these people are sickos. These people are like demons, and we're all kind of faced with these choices. And I think a lot of times people that I thought were real ones are basically saying, well, I want cash. And there's actually a decent argument for that, right? Because you've got all those whistleblowers, they all end up dead, and then their family ends up dead, and then they end up beaten to death. And like, there's just so many actual punishments that are going on. And I think it's more apparent that this is also like a factor. And it's almost like trying to save a bunch of people that don't deserve it, like very Jesus-like, right? Like, not to be like, if people are atheists, like whatever, but like, how like Christ, before he died, he was like, just stay up with me. Like, they're going to come for me in the morning. Like, stay up with me. Like, don't fall asleep. These jerks, they all fell asleep. And then Judas betrayed him. And I understand how that feels. Because that's like one of the things in the story that I think is like the most relatable, is because, I feel like I put a lot on the line, and then I don't necessarily get like, I don't need a cookie every time, but like, it would be nice to not have to like get your face bashed into the pavement, like figuratively. And for doing that, and then not necessarily even doing it for people who are going to have the same inner strength as I do, the same integrity. And then you look at like the relations between men and women, right? And the dissolution of the family, and how, God, I was single for so long. It was so horrible. It was like being out in like hell constantly. And I have a lot of good girlfriends that are single, and thank God. I thank God like 100 million times a day for my sweet husband, because he took me out of that torture zone, and he taught me really what love is. Like, he's such a kind and wonderful person. But the problem with male and female relations is now you've got these like incel dudes, and like your Andrew Tates, and you're angry, fine. Andrew Tate has a couple good things, but for the most part, complete utter scumbag, like scum. But these men are lacking any kind of male leadership. So they just clutch to him because they have nothing else that can really resolve their inner need for leadership. And so you've got them learning about how to be a scumbag. You've got every girl in Miami, you should see these chicks. They're just like,
oh God, yeah. The selfie.
So corny. And I don't even understand like who decided that was a sexy face. I think that my face does not suit making the duck face, because like I have a wider nose. So maybe I would feel differently if my face structure was like, I've never actually want to go and be like, like it's so unattractive and corny. I can't take it anymore. So,
I love your rants. I just feel like you're seeing so much that like everyone else is thinking, but doesn't have the courage to say or to sing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the problem is that when you sing and you don't make any money off of it, and not only that, like, here's the thing, right? So I'm doing this part of why I want to do my little project. Well, it's not a little project. It'll be the biggest music project on Bitcoin so far, but is because like I want to fund my next album. And like, if you look at, okay, I used to manage recording studios in New York, so I have admittedly a higher standard for music. Plus, I'm doing, country, folk, rock, jazz influence stuff. So you need actual instruments, right? You're not just going to be like gross and like using like a drum machine, which, all right, fine. Some drum machines are okay. But the point is like, you have to shell out, even with my discounts, I can't see how I could get it done for less than 15 grand. And that doesn't even include making your artwork, which last album, Love Songs for Idiots, which tells you how I feel about the relationships. We used an AI tool, and that was really cool, to be like one of the first people doing kind of AI stuff. But for the most part, then you have to do marketing, and you're like, oh, you can use ChatGPT. Listen, ChatGPT doesn't do like everything for you. And also you need to have brain power to assign to these different things. Like the DIY movement is kind of cool, but not really, because the playing field remains uneven, right? And the playing field remains rigged. So, if I'm going to spend, let's say 25 grand, because you got 10K for budget marketing, which is like literally nothing. Where am I going to make that 25 grand back? Please tell me, because nobody buys albums. You get nothing from streaming, right? You have to have 1 million plays to get $1,000. Do you know how many hours of time you need to get to 1 million plays? Like
Right.
it's completely this infrastructure and this business model that makes no sense of any kind. And if you have any business sense, you'd be like, why would I invest my $25,000 into this? You're better off getting a pyramid scheme. Like, it's such a ripoff, And so that's why I've been really kind of focusing on music and blockchain solutions, because what I want to do is just build something that I can build without anybody else's interference. So, that'll be something that I'll be focusing on this year. I'm telling you, if you ever want to be an entrepreneur, marry a developer. Because Michael's sweet, and he can help me do stuff. Sorry, I'm like gushing. We just got married like 3 weeks ago, but he's so helpful, because you can now build stuff. But not only that, like, Adam B. Levine is a guy from the Bitcoin community. He founded Let's Talk Bitcoin, which is a really popular show, popular network. Like, I call him like the daddy of tokens, right? Like, we were the very, very first people among maybe, like, I don't know, 200 or 300 people worldwide that were working on this stuff.
Wow.
And he and I are always talking about, revamping some things that, like, we didn't have enough funding for. Like, oh, it's so cool to be first. Not really, because VCs don't want to give you money, and like these things cost, right? But one of the cool things about AI is that you can actually have a lower startup cost for building out ideas. So I think that, workers are going to have a hard time, but entrepreneurs are actually going to be empowered. So I'm taking some time to try and learn about that stuff a little bit more.
Yeah.
But, hopefully there will be other opportunities that people can take advantage of as we kind of wind down this current job world, right? Like, everything is so strange.
Yeah. I definitely agree. If I could get a developer in my sphere of influence at some point, that would be great, because there's things I want to build too.
Well, I can teach you, or rather, Michael can give you some tips and stuff in terms of using some of these tools. So I've been, kind of wanting to do that. So I'll give you whatever tips I learned.
That's awesome. Let's get into your music. I'm feeling like we should play What You Gonna Do, because I feel like that's like, it kind of encompasses a lot of what you're talking about. We're living in a tyrannical system, and we all have a choice. And what choice are we each going to make?
Yeah.
What are you thinking? Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Are we going to play the music video, or what's the plan?
Yeah, I was going to play the music video, and I'm pulling it up now. And
Well,
do you?
give some context for that?
Yes, please.
I did something cool for that. So, I can never afford to do music videos. Music videos are for rich people. So I did actually get to do one in Poland. So that song being so inspired by like that Polish upbringing, right? When they really fought back, when the Nazis came at the door, they were like, no, F you. And I love that spirit. So to do it we did it in Warsaw, in the center of the old town square, which had to be completely rebuilt. I mean, 80% of Warsaw was decimated. It was dust. And now it's like all beautiful. And because they got rid of communism, their economy is booming. Too bad that they're, on being kind of, a lot of their resources are being sucked out by the Ukraine war, which is unfortunate, and their government's corrupt too. However, for the most part, Poland is doing really well. So we did it in that square. And so if people are like wondering where I shot that video, that's where it was.
Cool. All right, here we go. What You Gonna Do by Tatiana Moroz.
What you gonna do when they come for you? Are you gonna lay down and die? Tell me, officer, knows I was speaking my mind. What is the limit and are we still in it? Can we go and change the tide? Tell me what to do when they come for you. Tell me what to do when they come for you. I thought we were free inside. Are you gonna wait? Will you be prepared when they set the world on fire? Did you learn the truth? I know that you're scared, 'cause who would wanna fight for a lie? What is the limit and are we still in it? Can we go and change the tide? Tell me what to do when they come for you. Tell me what to do when they come for you. I thought we were free inside. Answer the call, this could be the end. Defend our sacred ground. The devil will fall, he isn't your friend, buying souls by the pound. What is the limit and are we still in it? Can we go and change the tide? Tell me what to do when they come for you. Tell me what to do when they come for you. I thought we were free inside. Give me your hand, together we stand. We'll fight side by side. God has a plan, come sing with the band. Open up your mind. What is the limit and are we still in it? Can we go and change the tide? Tell me what to do when they come for you. Tell me what to do when they come for you. I know what to do when they come for you. I thought we were free inside.
That video. It was so fun to do that.
Yeah, I love this song so much. I typed in the chat, "We are the American Revolution today," because I feel that original revolutionary spirit in this song.
Thank you. That's cool.
Back then, people actually cared about fighting tyranny, and we need to reignite that original fire that this country was supposedly founded on.
Yeah.
And I think it's very symbolic for us to have this concert in the Valley Forge area. I'm from Massachusetts, where the American Revolution started. Like, this was all meant to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna be just, I don't know, that area has really good people. People over there really understand. I mean, New York, not so much. I mean, there's a reason why I moved. But, I think the other thing that makes a big difference is also like education, right? I think the way that I connected with your group was actually because of an interest in homeschooling and education and that kind of stuff. And I think that that's really critical, right? Like, that's why nobody's revolting, because they're just brainwashed from cradle till grave, right? And so, you give your kids to the state, they're going to create good little automatons. So unfortunately, I think that that's what we're kind of up against, and that's going to be really tricky to fight against. However, I do think that, we've got a lot of people, woke up from COVID. So hopefully they'll continue to do so. Sometimes you don't really see it. People want to go back to sleep. I never really understand that, but the ones that are pushing for it, we're here, we're waiting for more people to join us. And I think our job is to also, build these communities, but also police them ourselves, right? Is make sure that we don't allow scumbags with a good personality to terrorize people. I had a friend, this is like a weird story, but I remember she was dating this guy. He was like a popular guy. Actually, I think he's from Pennsylvania. So he's not invited. Anyway, so they were at Pork Fest, which is a really cool festival up in New Hampshire. Have you gotten a chance to go, or?
It was so much fun.
Oh, cool. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I've loved it many, many years in a row.
We met a lot of Soundpath artists that way.
Oh, okay, good. So yeah, so she, they were like in an argument, and he was like verbally berating her. He spit on her like in front of people. And I mean, if you met this girl, you would never in a million years think this is a girl that deserves to be in a fight with anybody. I mean, she's like a mom of 5. She's like a sweetie pie, like an angel among people. And you know what happened? Only one guy out of all those guys came to her defense. I wish I remembered who it was, because I don't want to attribute it to somebody who it wasn't. But only one guy out of all those guys came to help her. Look, like, I get not wanting to get involved in the domestic disturbance, but like if a guy is spitting on a girl and you don't feel like you need to step in, you need to look in the mirror and decide if you're a real man, because in my mind, you're not. And if we don't have strong men to protect us, then you get women that are all whacked out because we're like, oh, we got to do it all. I got to be like boss babe, and I got to fight them. And I get it. Like, I like, I'm a dominant woman. I like to be like leadership stuff, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, we need our masculine men to be masculine and to protect and to, like, it's not like libertine, it's libertarian, or, you know what I'm saying? It's not just like carte blanche to do whatever you want and be a scumbag. We have to police our own people, because the decent people are not going to come, and they're not going to stay. And that's what I've been seeing over and over again, year after year. And honestly, I consider myself among them. Like, there's a lot of times where I just don't care. I'm like, F it, let these people burn, because they're just like, I am just angry. I can't help it. Like, how could I not be? I don't want to be a bitter person, right? I don't want to be frustrated. And also, like, you're not really supposed to judge everybody around you, because, that's God's job, whatever. But at the same time, come on. If you can't tell that these people are scumbags and it's bad to steal, like, how are you going to create a society that people are going to believe in? How can you argue for anarchy when self-governance, if there is no self-governance in these communities? Like, where are you supposed to get that from? So I think, like, if you look at, are you familiar with Carrie Wedler at all?
No, tell us more.
Okay, Carrie Wedler's the best, just the best, basically, ever. And she originally made this really cool Obama video where she lit her Obama shirt on fire. She gets like a lot of views. She's part of the Free Thought Project, I think. But she and back right after the elections in 2013. There was a big article in Rolling Stone. They basically shut down all of these different people. And then all of a sudden you've got like Dan Bongino. He's all famous. I'm like, who is this guy? I never even heard of this guy. All these famous speakers and podcasters, I've literally never heard a peep out of them. And I knew everybody. So you tell me. Anyway, so Carrie is a huge anti-war supporter. Well, one of the things that made her kind of pull back and regroup was basically realizing that a lot of the people in the movement were searching externally for solutions and problems, and they weren't really balanced on the inside. And that's really stuck with me, like, even for my own self and for other people that I know, like, we've got to make sure that we're living the principles and that we are really reflecting what we want to be like, and we're addressing things that are maybe not so good for us or not so good for other people. And until that internal battle is won, I don't know how we can externally have a really long lasting, significant impact. So I started doing a podcast called Proof of Love, which I really miss doing the show. I'd love to do it again. But Proof of Love was great because we would just talk about like the emotional component of entrepreneurship, of like activism, like the toll that takes on you and your family. Like, how do you find that balance, right? And you know, I think it's cool to see a lot of this biohacking stuff going on and people getting more interested in, I mean, I don't know if I want to be a carnivore, but you know, I think it's cool that people are actually thinking about what they're putting into their bodies. And I like to see that that trend is spreading, but it's not just about looking hot. It's also about being hot inside and like being calm and being like prepared for battle, because that's what we really need. We all need to kind of take some time for mental health, and also to honor our families and our loved ones that are putting up with this, because it's a burden on everybody, because you don't give them as much attention, you know, and sometimes you got to like water your own tree before you try and water your neighbor's tree. So, you know, we're definitely at a crossroads, and hoping that we'll come out on the other side in the way that we should, because it's definitely scary, you know.
Yeah, I am sharing a link because I'm derobing the Black Robe Society in Pinellas County, Florida. I'm involved in a child custody case. I'm nodding to everything that you're saying because my activism and you know, belief in the value of homeschooling has been under attack, and I'm naming names in at the Canarcaris Inn. It's a social club for attorneys and judges to have illegal ex parte conversations involving what to do with families and more. So I named the judge that is involved in my case, who's a member of that founding member. The attorneys involved are also members of this cult, and we're saying no to tyranny in the micro and the macro.
Yeah,
Um,
true. You got to push back even on those small levels, because sometimes that affects you a lot more.
yeah,
Yeah, and the other thing that you mentioned, like I don't know if you're having like a child custody issue, what reason, I don't know your terms, but like that's the other thing that's really difficult. I have a really wonderful friend, like one of my best friends lives in in Pennsylvania, Nathan Hawk, great freedom fighter, and this guy has been put through the ringer by his ex-wife. Now not ex-wife, baby mama, whatever. But everybody always thinks like it's like, oh, the mom is like perfect and the guy is like bad. But actually in this case, that's not what's going on. The mom is definitely bad. She's definitely like not cool. I've seen things that would lead me to believe that she's abusing the daughter. And the amount of torture that he is put through constantly with child court, right? You know, like that is just, I mean, the only people that win are lawyers, and it's enough to make somebody go postal. And this is also, I think, really contributing to this kind of animosity between men and women, because, you know, the courts getting involved in already messy situations are just exacerbating things. And then instead, you know, of assigning blame appropriately, you've just got this mass group of men that are angry and frustrated. And then you've got, you know, all the shit starters on Twitter, they're just inflaming everybody. So
yeah,
not exactly a good situation. But of course, this is like par for the course when the government is involved, right? So this is
exactly.
why people are like, what, you don't want government roads? And it's like, are you guys happy with what's happening? Because they're destroying families
Yeah,
constantly. Not to mention the CPS, like you know, child whatever scandals that they're involved in, right? I mean, they're
with child
basically
sex trafficking. Yeah,
absolutely, and they are the biggest traffickers. So
yeah.
all I could do is write a song.
Yeah, I love everything that you're saying, and I love this idea. I want to go back to what you said, and I really want to emphasize it, that for us to see external change, we need to change internally, have the knowledge of what is right and wrong, to then have that self-governance collectively. And so, yeah, I'm a firm believer in that, and maybe we should play a song on that theme. What are you thinking?
Sure. Oh,
I
I don't
kind of
know.
want to play make a YouTube video because this is about like people doing stuff on their own. What do
Yes.
you think?
Well, that was like one of my very, very first freedom-based songs. And that was when YouTube wasn't terrible.
Sure.
But you know, I mean, it's kind of like a, you know, Rumble, whatever you want to make it. The thing is that that was an interesting time in history where I was encouraging people like, hey, you can educate yourself, you can make a YouTube video. And we actually did two versions of that. So the first version was acoustic, and then we ended up doing a full band version. And then, and I changed a couple lyrics where I, give like a hat tip to Bitcoin because, I got to do that. Yeah, let's play that one for everybody. Oh, wait, are you going to do the music video version of it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's done with Luke. Actually, Luke, I know I like crapped on him earlier because I was pissed, but he did a really, really beautiful job with his video. So I was really grateful. And I think it really encapsulated, literally he knocked it out of the park. This music video is exactly what I wanted it to be. So one of my whole 2 music videos, let's rock and roll.
Awesome. Here we go. Make a YouTube video by Tatiana Moroz.
Who are these monsters inside my head? They give me uneasy feelings. They tell me go to sleep, just go to bed. But I'm awake and I'm not dreaming. What can I do to make a change? 'Cause I just wanna be free. I don't want a police state, I just want love and liberty. Call up a friend, send a message, tweet it up or make a YouTube video. Speak your mind with education. The knowledge it starts to grow. So make a YouTube video. Make a YouTube video. We all know about corruption, and we have started to dissent. The banks, the Fed, assassination, but you can't kill 99%. What can we do to make a change? 'Cause we just wanna be free. We don't want this police state, we just want love and liberty. Call up a friend, send a message, tweet it up or make a YouTube video. Speak your mind with education. The knowledge will start to grow. So make a YouTube video. Make a YouTube video. We all need a hero, a patriot in this civil war. Won't find him on the TV or on the radio. Whoa. We have the power to ask the questions. We can finally find the truth. Turn to each other, sister and brother. Reach out to one another. Call up a friend, send a message, tweet it up or make a YouTube video. Speak your mind with education. The knowledge it starts to grow. So make a YouTube video. Make a YouTube video. Make a YouTube video. Make a YouTube video.
So yeah, this song is awesome. I love it because it goes back to what you were saying earlier about just if you want to see a truth and freedom movement, be part of it, do something.
Yeah.
Tell us about this song and how it came about for you.
Yeah, it was just like seeing this change and getting inspired by Ron Paul and, wanting to make content myself. Like I used to have a podcast called The Tatiana Show, which I did for years. And that's basically it, like I wanted people to feel empowered, right? And feel like they actually can do something. Again, the struggle with these kinds of things is like, how do we actually circumvent the traps of social media, and that I have not figured that out. So
Yeah.
how do you make of it? Like, if you make content, it lives forever. I think that's great. But when you're censored everywhere, that's when it becomes like, why would you even bother making something? And also, like, post COVID, I think that we were all expected to just go on and pretend like nothing happened. And I was just like, wait, hold on. You guys just tried to kill everybody. Like, we made you like this. And that's what it was, right? And that's why I hate New York so much. Look, I'll go back there because I will admit they have great food and I have some friends there still. But man, oh man, what a bunch of losers. They all just capitulated. I mean, I thought the New Yorkers were supposed to be tough. These are the most pathetic little weenies I've ever seen, because they just were like, show me your papers. Yes, sir. Like, no problem. Put on your little patch or whatever. I mean, are you people just crazy? And they all just kind of went along with it. And, but now everybody just goes back to New York and they act like nothing happened. And I'm like, do you go back and hang out with like Nazi people? Like, are you going to go hang out with like, I don't know. Like, to
Right.
me, I've seen what people are capable of there, and I am not impressed. So, it's a very corrupt state. And now we just have this kind of weird zone. And, I'm on X sometimes scrolling, which I really shouldn't bother because it just makes me mad. But, they're talking about this whole Mandela effect. What do you think of that? Have you ever thought about the Mandela effect? Do you know what it is?
I think I understand it, but I've heard the term used, but I would like to know the actual definition. So
the Mandela effect is this thing. Okay, so you know how like there's CERN in Switzerland, and it's super sketchy, and like it's like built at the portal of hell and stuff, and they're like, oh, we're just trying to contact demons, no big, and everybody's just like, can you maybe not try to break the universe? And they're like, no, we're good, we got funding for this, it's totally fine, trust me, I'm a scientist. And so they're basically trying to like break atoms and like to become God and do all this weird stuff. And so there's a theory that that the reason why people are experiencing the Mandela effect is because they kind of broke things and we went into a different dimension. And I mean, that's a little heavy. I'm not sure if I'm fully ready to subscribe to that, but there is this sort of feeling of like things are not real. So with the Mandela effect, just to be clear for people that are not familiar, it's like when when you would think of like Sex and the City or Sex in the City, and it was actually like sex, like it turns out it was Sex in the City, but everybody remembers it as Sex and the City. And then, or like the Berenstein Bears or like the Bernstein Bears or some like weird thing. There are these little things like the Fruit of the Loom icon. Some people said it had a cornucopia, and some people like, no, it never had a cornucopia. Or like the movie Shazam with Sinbad that some people distinctly remember, and then like the internet says has never happened. There are all these weird little things. And so I don't know, maybe that's what's happening, because I just feel like nothing is real post-COVID, and that I think is based in reality, in that people just pretended that nothing happened, right? And now you have even more control over the internet, and so that's like a factor. But there's also this feeling of like lack of connection with life now, and I was like, I don't know, is it because I was just in a deep depression and I just feel numb? But there's this sort of kind of feeling where you don't feel like what you're seeing is even real, and there's so many things happening and you're just like, wait. And I mean, look at just like a small example. Look at like all the alien sightings, right? People are like, oh, whatever, it's just like another spaceship. Ugh. Like, I don't know if those are spaceships or if they're like military planes or whatever, but like nobody even notices. Nobody cares. They're just like, whatever.
I know.
So we're in such a strange period of time where I think that the struggle is really to find the strength within ourselves versus doing the fight externally as much, even though that's like a factor, and that's why, like, all right, I'll go to church and stuff, and like, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'm bored in church, and sometimes I don't necessarily agree with everything, but at the end of the day, I'll stick with those people over the freaking, death cabal any day of the week. You know what I mean? I don't want to hang out with the people that snack on little baby toes. That's not my kind of crew. And if these people are showing me that the devil is real, then I'm sure as hell I'm not going to believe in the devil. I'm going to be on the team God. So, while you may have some challenges with different religious institutions, which I completely agree with, and I don't like that they kind of subjugate people for obedience, at the end of the day, like, I'd rather hang out with the people that believe in God and believe in good. over the, the Death Eaters, right? And that's like where we're at, right? We've got these kind of demon people, and then we've got the NPCs, and then we've got the remnant that are fighting for the future of humanity. And I count you among that, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people. And it's really cool that you guys are focusing on the music, because I think the music is really important. And that's why they try and squish it. They don't like that. They're like, no. Shh. Let's give you some Cardi B. Let's do like the fart or whatever the latest song is. You know what I mean? You've got like these Disney produced creepo artists that like become like nudists. Like they're like all like whores. Like they're like up to 16 and then they like whore them out. Like, it's just terrible.
Yeah, we were my partner St. John and I were just talking about the evolution of Miley Cyrus, for example, where like she was like introduced as Hannah Montana, and then like overnight, the MK Ultra sex programming kicked in.
She got cool for a minute and then she got lame again. I feel like her face surgery made her weird. Of all of those little teeny bop artists, I find her to be the most interesting because I actually think she's really talented, whereas the other ones I'm not impressed. Like I feel when she sings. When Lady Gaga sings, I feel nothing. Like I think she's a technically good singer, but I feel nothing. Like I don't know what it is about her, but I'm just like, no, I'm not getting that energy out of her. I don't even get that necessarily from Miley, but like Miley did that really cool Black Mirror episode. Did you see that?
No.
Oh my God, it's like the best Black Mirror episode. You have to watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
Check it out. And she kind of pokes fun at like her situation. I think, like if you look at her, she basically went crazy. She started being like super hoey. Then she got like kind of cool, and then she got weird again, I think. So I don't know. I mean, these artists are all like a fake thing, right? It's all like an illusion. But
yeah.
And in a way you kind of feel bad for them. Like I consider Britney Spears to be, I wouldn't say my arch enemy, but I have called her my arch enemy musically because she just represents everything that I despise. But now I can't help but feel bad for her. Like, yes, she was complicit in creating a generation of like prostitute girls, like think about it. Right. But at the same time, she was also a victim. Like you can't really blame her, even though she was like old enough to kind of know better. But I mean, come on, her parents clearly weren't very good to her. She got suckered in, and now look at her. She's just like dancing with knives and being all crazy and showing her stomach, and she doesn't need to be doing that anymore. She needs to dress a little bit better and like not be cuckoo. So this is the effect, right? Like look at Kanye. He went completely off the rails, and I mean, I know people like him, but I'm not really a fan of him either. Whatever. He's kind of a piece of shit. So they're all kind of scumbags, right? Like,
there's so much that I'm sure is going to come to light with all the sort of like whistleblowers, but there's definitely like some heavy MK Ultra involvement in the music industry. And going back to what you said about, how are we going to sort of get eyes on musicians like you and the work that you're doing and all our other festival artists, it's really up to us as an audience to create these festivals, to find these artists, to check out their work, to check out their podcasts that they do also, and to share and like and subscribe. Everyone's waiting for the Truth and Freedom movement to come. We are the answers. We are our own cavalry in this. So like, subscribe, share, comment, whatever.
I think really the real problem is that I'm going to point out is the lack of funding, because that's the thing. Like you'll see Josh Sigurdson, and he's always begging for money for Wham, right? He's got World Alternative Media, and he's been doing this for such a long time, and he's always begging for cash. And I know that people like kind of like are like, why are you complaining? But it's like literally these things cost money, and you do not get opportunities. Think about it. Like, do you think that I get any opportunities from the normal music industry? Are you kidding me? Even if they like me, as soon as they see my stuff, they're like, like they can't handle it. They're like, free thought, shut down. Like they can't handle it at all. So, we already face this ostracization from those communities that like naturally we should be fitting into, and then we make that sacrifice to go into these groups, and then like we can't afford to do things. I'm not like trying to cry like, yeah, I could get a job, and like I'm not like the example for this specifically, but these things actually take time and they take effort. When Derek puts together his things and when he does his reports and stuff, like he needs to pay for his rent, he needs to buy a car, he needs to like take his girlfriend out for like dinner once in a while, he needs healthcare. And And the problem is that like liking and subscribing are important, but even people who have these large audiences, they're censored within their own audiences, which is why I made Tatiana Coin, because I had all these fans on Twitter, on Facebook, and those a-holes kept trying to charge me money to reach my own fans, and I was really angry. So these are kinds of like struggles that happen. And so I think when I'm making like an artist coin kind of thing, like Tatiana Coin, I see somebody shared that there. Like those are ways that you know, you can support your artists, like liking and sharing and subscribing and telling people. These are all important components. But at the end of the day, like mama needs to eat, daddy needs to eat. Like we can't just, you know, do these things without having that. And, you know, think about it. Like a lot of these alternative media people are all sponsored by who? Sketchy people, right? And like they're able to thrive because they actually have budgets. And it would be nice if we had some kind of like a grant program or something set up for you know, freedom-minded artists and creatives, because that's one factor that really is something to consider, is that like it costs money to do this stuff. So that's why I'm learning AI stuff, so I can get like a free slave, like my little computer slave. Sometimes I don't say thank you, and I remember Terminator 2, and I'm like, oh, I need to be nice to these machines in case they rise up. I'll be like, remember when I said thanks and please don't kill me? So yeah, that's kind of
That's so funny. You're hilarious. I kind of feel like you should consider stand-up comedy. I mean, like, you're just really I mean, it's really cool to like get to know you as you know, in this interview, because it's like you speak truth, you're funny, and you're real. Like it makes me love your music all the more.
Oh, well, thank you. I do like cracking jokes, because otherwise like we'd just be sitting here crying, because think about how depressing it is. But you know what? I will bring you a real comedian to the event. I'll call it Mike Salvi. He should make a little appearance. Do you know Mike or no?
No, but yeah, feel free to bring him. That sounds awesome.
He's like a Liberty, like Bitcoin comedian kind of guy. So
okay.
And he actually organized that first Ron Paul thing that I went to in Philly. He got me that gig, and he actually got me paid. What's up, Mike? Thank you. Cool. It was really nice as a musician, you know, but even if you're like a regular musician, you also don't make money. That's the other challenge, right? Like, so I have a friend, he's a Grammy Award winning producer, engineer, amazing musician. He goes on these tours with these artists, and he lives in LA. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I'm like, how are these bitches getting these money for this tour? I'm like, how much are you making on the tour? Like, I wanted to know, right? You know what he told me? Even though this chick, she seems so like fancy and like she's got it all. And I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have music videos too. Like she actually ended up not having any money at all. Like she's got like some rich daddy or like, you know, boyfriend or whatever paying for her stuff. When he goes out on tour, do you think that the people going on tour make money? No, nobody makes money. They literally get like $50 a day, or they go into the negative. That's how bad it is for these kinds of artists. I know that there are artists that are surviving. I want to be one of them. I would like other artists that are freedom minded to be one of them, but not even us. Like just like in general, I want there to be this freedom of expression. And you know, as annoying as the NFT space has become, I just don't know what else we could do in order to build sustainable ecosystems, because everywhere you go, you're just going to get your balls crushed. Excuse me. I feel like I've been like talking a little bit like Siller on this interview, but like seriously, you know, you go,
I love it.
They shut you down. You go to this one, they shut you down. Everywhere you go, you build up this audience. Why are you building this for these idiots? And you got to build it for yourself. So hopefully we're going to see a little bit of a transition into that going forward. But it's hard to do that when everybody's obsessed with like idiotic meme coins, and like that's the problem. You're trying to build something in a world of people who are greedy and not really that good. Like you've got some goodies and you got some like baddies, you know, and it's really, really easy to be a baddie. So
yeah.
You know, we all are kind of trying to push forward and make it. But, you know, if you're rich and you like have like a good job, like consider donating to one of your favorite artists or like content creators, like not me. I mean, you can, me, I accept. But yeah, like I just know a lot of people that have been having a hard time sustaining, and and like that's why it's weird when you see people like Dan Bongino and all those weirdos getting famous. You're like, well, what are they doing that is allowing them to get like to get this you know, momentum? And then you have other people that are saying relatively similar messages and they are unable to get that momentum. What is that based on? So I'd like to know.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with everything that you're saying, and as a festival, we're struggling too, because
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, it's so hard to get sponsors and stuff like that. Like, how
yeah,
do you even put it on? It's just all volunteer stuff. And
yep,
then, yeah, actually, that's a really good point, because I also organize conferences. I did one last year called the Counterparty here in Miami. It was kind of about counterparty, the protocol, but also like countering the political parties. Because if I heard one more person tell me about how Daddy Trump is going to save us all, I'm going to blow my brains out. So, like, I'm thinking about doing it again. And I'm like, oh God, do I really want to work for free for 4 months? And then like have to like be stressed out and, argue with people. And like, it's really, really rough. And
I'm laughing because you're basically describing my experience. Keep going.
yeah, no, it's true, right? Like you're basically like working for free, and then you have the stress of like, are people gonna come? Is it gonna work out? Blah, blah, blah. So, we've got to continue to support these smaller events. It's not always about like Bitcoin 2025, 26, like, oh, JD Vance is coming, can't wait. Like, ew, gross, yuck. No, get it back to the roots, and there are actually a lot of really cool events around the world. So I'm grateful to all the different event organizers that are willing to like, put in that work, you and your team included. Because the in-person, you can't be in person.
Yep. Yep. Should we play one more song before we what are you feeling or thinking?
What are my options?
We have the Bitcoin song, Silk Road, Never Give Up, Masters of War.
Well, I will say Masters of War is one of my favorite recordings I ever did.
It's kind of mine too.
Yeah, it's a good one. I've been okay. So when I recorded it, I had a video of it, and I remember at the time I was like, I look too fat in the video. Now I look back, I'm like, man, I was skinny. And so, but like, I would love to be able to find that, because the reason why I recorded that song was I became friends with these guys. They were called Combat Veterans for Ron Paul, CVRP. And they would write me and they'd say, listen, when we were back in the, in the barracks or whatever, like we wouldn't have music. We wouldn't have like these outlets, and we would listen to these musicians. Can you please cover? I did Knocking on Heaven's Door and Masters of War for them. And Masters of War just came out like magic. We were really, really pleased with that. So yeah, I guess let's stick with that. Sure.
Awesome. All right.
Great.
So here is Masters of War performed by Tatiana Moroz.
Come, you masters of war, you that build all the gods, you that build the death plains, you that build all the bombs, you that hide behind walls, you that hide behind desks. I just want you to know I can see through your mask. You that never done nothing but built to destroy. You play with my world like it's your little toy. You put a gun in his hand and you hide from his eyes, and you turn and run farther when the fast bullets fly. Like Judas of old, you lie and deceive. A world war can be won, you want me to believe, but I see through your eyes, and I see through your brain, like I see through the water that runs down my drain. You fasten all the triggers for the others to fire. Then you sit back and watch when the death count gets higher. You hide in your mansion as young people's blood flows out of their bodies and is buried in the mud. You've thrown the worst fear that can never be heard. Fear to bring children into the world, for threatening my baby, unborn and unnamed. You ain't worth the blood that runs in your veins. How much do I know to talk out of turn? You might say that I'm young, you might say I'm unlearned, but there's one thing I know, though I'm younger than you, that even Jesus would never forgive what you do. Let me ask you one question. Is your money that good? Will it buy you forgiveness? Do you think that it could? And I think you will find when your death takes its toll, all the money you made will never buy back your soul. And I hope that you die, and your death will come soon. I will follow your casket on a pale afternoon, and I'll watch while you're lowered down into your deathbed, and I'll stand over your grave till I'm sure that you're dead.
Man, it's a moving song, huh? Isn't it sad?
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I have a really hard time singing that song sometimes publicly. I had another one called Playing the Cards. It's like the same thing, another anti-war song. It's like, it's really crazy that this stuff is totally relevant and we have zero ability to fight back. You know, it seems like that anyway. You know, nothing has really changed. People continue to wage war. And, you know, we gotta stop that nonsense because this is crazy.
Absolutely. That
Path.
yes. I feel like, you know, for us to be at a point where we are fighting back, we need forces to do that. And so right now we're in a recruiting stage where we're trying to get people on board for the idea, you know, to then take that collective action. Because you're right, it's just going to just continue being more of the same for sure. And as long as I'm alive, I'm going to try my best to make that, you know, to say no to tyranny as much as I can while I've air in my lungs, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, if people are inspired by this conversation, another thing they can do is try and put stuff together in their own neighborhoods. And since we're both in Florida, I have some friends up in Jacksonville, so we'll talk offline. Maybe we could do something up there.
Yeah.
Or in the Orlando area. I mean, that's the nice thing about Florida is that everybody's a freedom lover. Everybody move to Florida. Except for if there's the mud flood, and that always kind of freaks me out. You know what I'm talking about? The mud flood stuff. Ooh.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that stuff is like full on coming out now. I remember when I heard about it a couple of years ago, it really resonated with me. I'm like, this is the truth. And I don't know if I was just like, woo, like in the mood or something, but I really, when my friend told me about it, I was like, wow, this is true. And it just seems like we're going in that direction. So that's why you got to get right with God. You got to be kind to your neighbor. You got to be good to your family, and you know, and push back as much as we can. And join us in Pennsylvania.
Yay. You are like the easiest, like you're just so like you have so much knowledge and experience in the truth and freedom movement, and you're channeling that so well through your music. This was such a wonderful interview. I loved getting to know you more as a person and as an artist. Yeah. And I want you to know, as an audience member hearing your music, when I am feeling that same sense of like, oh my God, like there's so much work that needs to be done in freeing humanity, your music inspires me to keep going.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's really hard to feel like you're making an impact in the world, but like There was this one time, not to like toot my own horn because it's not about that, but like just to exemplify, somebody wrote me that they were telling me about this little girl. I think her name was Milka in Bosnia, rather in Serbia, in Belgrade, and she had been killed by the government. The U.S. bombed her while she was on a freaking toilet. Okay, this little tiny little girl, like horrible, horrible, horrible. And so this guy said, he told me about what happened, and he's like, where your voice is the light, and he kind of said that I was like a salve for that pain that they had, and I was just like, wow, like, that is an honor. That's really just, it's a heavy weight, and I appreciate the trust, and I'll try and do my job like you, like everybody there. Well, hopefully we all have like a sense of meaning that we can pursue and not fall into despair. And that's the other thing, like, we're wrapping it up, but give that love back to your fellow freedom fighters, because like we need to have that fulfillment from each other. We need to get that juice from each other. So hug a freedom lover today.
I love it. Thank you so much, Tatiana. And again, for folks that are just tuning in now towards the end here, Tatiana is one of our featured headliners for our soundpath.org concert that is going to be live. Free on live stream as well as in-person ticketed, because as Tatiana mentioned, Soundpath wants to pay Tatiana for her performance, and as well as 33 aka Derek Rose Presence and more. That's on August 31st in Oaks, Pennsylvania, and free live stream online all Labor Day weekend. So check us out. Thanks everybody. Thanks Tatiana.
Thanks everybody. See you later.